you. Exactly. All right. Representative Jim McDermott, our good friend from the great state of Washington, joins us now. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Stephanie. How are you today?
Good. Well, we were actually reacting to the the right-wing talking point that the housing crisis was all Barney Frank's fault, as a lovely parting gift for his 30 years of service. I like that one. Okay. Your thoughts?
Well, they have to have somebody to blame it on, and Barney's got broad shoulders.
Yeah.
But it's baloney.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, just so you want to give us your thoughts on that, because I think that, it really is ironic that here's a guy that, at least got some financial regulation accomplished, and they're making him the scapegoat of all this.
Well, their whole strategy right now is to deregulate the government as a way of recreating the economy, and the financial regulation that he did was just trying to get us back to some sanity. I mean, we learned in the 30s what happens, and we gradually eroded it over time, and Barney tried to bring us back to where it makes sense.
Right.
And they simply want more derivatives out of Wall Street. They don't want jobs. They want more derivatives.
Do you think the this whole Occupy movement will hopefully result in the election of people like more Barney Franks, Elizabeth Warrens, Alan Graysons? What do you think?
My belief is that you're going to see a lot of returns of people who were very good members of Congress, and I think that you're going to see the Tea Party, the Occupy Wall Street movement being the real genesis of this, because it's just getting started. And it's not focused yet around much of an agenda, but what it's tapping is the absolute rejection of what's gone on here in the last year and a half under the Republicans in the Congress. I mean, the Congress, if you put our accomplishments on a piece of paper, there'd be nothing there.
Yeah.
We have gone from one crisis to another, all manufactured to make Obama look bad.
Yeah. What was it? I don't know if I'm paraphrasing Barney Frank, but we didn't get a lot done, but they're nuts.
Yeah,
the people we're dealing with. Yeah,
and yet the volume that they have gotten done, that the Democrats and Obama have gotten done, is extraordinary on any measure.
Yes, well, they prance around talking about their jobs agenda is the deregulatory bills that they sent over to the House. They want to get to the Senate. They want to get rid of clean air, clean water, and they're saying that if those had been passed, we'd have thousands of jobs.
Sure.
Why? Industry could just be tearing up the economy and tearing up the environment, and it's nonsense. It really is. It's borders on being crazy.
Jim, let's talk about the super committee. Chris, what's the? I wouldn't call it a conspiracy theory. I would say.
I heard a report yesterday on somewhere that the super committee was pretty much designed to fail in order to give the Republicans an out against all of the demands of the Tea Party. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think there's I don't know if you're going to find that written down anywhere, but it sure makes sense to me. What makes sense is that the super committee was set up to distract people from the fact that the Republicans were going to raise the debt limit. And they knew they had to, and forever all they're talking about it, they were going to do it. But they had to get something, like a magician snaps his fingers in one place so you look over there, when in fact he's doing something else. That's really what was going on here. They were snapping their fingers with this committee so people wouldn't notice that they were raising the debt limit.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Congressman, it just seems, I was reading a great piece, I guess it was in the Times, but just when you look at historical perspective, you just don't know how we got here. Tax rates were 50% for the wealthy under Reagan. They're 35% now. And there was a timeline done, I think, of how much Democrats and the president really compromised on this whole timeline with the super committee. And the Republicans, nothing, zero, no tax increase of any kind on the wealthy. I mean, it's not even governing anymore. There's no kind of negotiating or anything with them, is there?
No. Well, you see what the problem with the super committee was this. Everybody wants to go to a painless dentist. Everybody knows that when you go to the dentist, it's going to hurt unless he gives you some Novocaine. Well, this committee was trying to fix something, but they didn't have any Novocaine. Somebody was going to have to pay more taxes, and they couldn't bring themselves to say we're going to have to work on you, the American public, and get this done, and there is going to be some discomfort, and obviously they were running away from what they saw in Greece and what they saw in all these other countries where when they put the pressure on to make the changes, there's a lot of screaming and hollering and people in the streets, and they didn't want that. They didn't want to create the Occupy Wall Street movement, but that's what they've done. Because everybody knows there needs to be tax increases, and it's only the congressmen who don't, or congresswomen who don't have the guts to actually stand up and say it and do it.
Well, Congressman, that's why I don't get how this can't have an effect in the midterms. I mean, these Republicans are literally going against huge majorities of the American people that agree with you and I, that the rich need to pay their fair share as a way to get the deficit down, which, and again, historically, I was looking at polling, it didn't used to be that way. It's flipped, but now a huge majority of Americans think that, raising taxes is the way to take care of the deficit. And here we have a party that is just completely opposed to what majorities want.
The American people are way ahead of the Republican Party, and unfortunately, or depending on how you want to look at it, the Republicans are only beginning to become aware of the fact that they're losing the battle, that the president's talking about jobs, and they haven't put any proposals out at all, is simply sinking in, and people are now saying, we want to raise taxes and get going again. I was teasing my staff. We were talking about, let's suppose Obama lost. What would be the first bill that Mitt Romney would bring to the United States Congress? It'd be $1 trillion infrastructure bill, just like the one that a guy named Dwight Eisenhower brought when he brought the highway system to be built in his administration. I don't want that to happen, but there has to be infrastructure building in this country, both on the ground and in the universities, and we're simply letting it slide because they won't raise any money.
Let's talk about the payroll tax extension. What's happening with that?
Well, I'm one of those that's a little bit uneasy with that one because I don't like reducing the amount of money going into the Social Security fund. Yeah. But the Senate has taken a way of taking some money by putting a surtax on millionaires, which covers it. I'm still uneasy with it, but I can go along with that. You cannot bleed the Social Security fund and then come along a couple years later and say, well, look, there's no money. Well, right. You got a hole in the bottom of the boat, and lo and behold, you're sinking. I think that the Senate is doing a kind of a halfway job, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try and pass it. I don't think it's going to get there because I don't think these other guys, Mitch McConnell and the works, are going to push anything.
Speaking of Social Security, what do you make of the fact that the front runner on the Republican side is Newt Gingrich, who wants to privatize Social Security? He's a brand new idea, and so is that, isn't it? And that's apparently the best they've got.
Newt Gingrich is going to be the next pinata in their run for the presidency. I mean, he's got so many holes in his proposals that don't make sense. I mean, just ask yourself, where would we be if George Bush had privatized Social Security 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago when he tried? Yeah. We beat him then, and we'll beat him again because the American people know. All those people that were working at Enron thought they had it knocked. Boy, they were really going to live the great life. And all of a sudden, what do they have? Social Security. What do those American Airlines flight attendants have when they strip off their pension benefits in this bankruptcy? We know what they did at United Airlines. United Airlines women can work there for 30 years and get a $300 a month pension. for the rest of their life because they lost all in the bankruptcy. They lost their pensions. So when people are looking at Social Security as the only solid thing they know that's there is Newt Gingrich is sailing into a real headwind.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's proof that they are the regressive party. I mean, you think, really? Newt Gingrich, whose policies failed and he was run out of town on a rail, this is your new idea? This is the best you've got so far on the Republican field?
Yep, I don't think Barack Obama is so lucky as to get him as a candidate in the end. It would sure be fun to have him.
That was one of Barney Frank's parting show. He said, "I never thought I'd be fortunate enough to see Newt Gingrich as the nominee for the Republican Party." He said, "And by the way, I'll be becoming neither a lobbyist nor a historian after I leave Congress." You have the best man giggle I've ever heard. Representative Jim McDermott of the great state of Washington, thanks as always for your time.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
All right.